Who's been watching the show? Yeah. Who's your favourites? Who's your favourite?
Oh, well, that made a lot of sense.
Hayden. Alana.
Hayden.
Kate.
Kumar. Kumar got ejected last night, didn't he? Oh, poor Kumar. Oh. He does this lovely walk because he's 60 odd, but he does that. It's lovely. It's a bit like me after a big night. Hayden, I hate him. He's good looking. He's tall. He's got abs. I've got abs. They're just buried really deep. And he can cook and he surfs.
Yeah.
He's not going to win, I'm telling you now.
Absolutely not.
Right, what are we going to cook?
We should do some cooking. We decided this year, because we've done this for a couple of years now, is to focus on the sea, because we're surrounded by it here in this beautiful country, and we've got some of the most amazing produce in the world. So we're doing a couple of dishes that are in our new book. One of them being a millionaire's moussaka, which I'm going to cook, which is cooking Western Australian crayfish.
Oh, sorry, that was me.
And then we're going to make phyllo pastry from scratch and make little onion and anchovy cigars.
Beautiful. And I'm going to introduce somebody in the audience that's never eaten oysters. I need a volunteer. We'll come and get one later.
Look, all the oyster eaters are putting their hands up. No, someone that doesn't eat oysters or never has.
A ginger, garlic, and black bean dressing that goes on top of that. And I'm going to do a fritti misti, which is a flash wave. It's a flash fish and chips, basically, using a tempura batter and a saffron aioli. All right?
Let's do it.
Because if we don't do it, we'll get kicked off.
Yeah.
So you're going first, right?
Yeah. Alrighty. So what we've got here is this beautiful crayfish that we've respected it. So we've basically correctly...
You've killed it.
Killed it. So we popped it in the freezer, slowing down its metabolism. It's the RSPCA way of doing things, which is correct.
What they say is that you've got to pop it in an ice slurry until you render it insensible. And you know that it's insensible. I don't know what that word is, but if you hold the lobster up and you pull its tail back, it'll just sit there. It won't flick back. You can do the same thing with your husband. If you give him 6 or 7 beers, just lift his legs up, they drop down, insensible. You can then dispatch him humanely in a large pot of boiling water.
My
wife laughs at that
that
one.
Mandy do that too?
She renders me insensible and goes to bed. Right. So what I'm doing is I just remove the tail. And if you're going to order this sort of thing, make sure you know your seafood, your fishmonger.
Yeah.
It's a good idea to get to know him and trust his recommendations, which is good. So I press down on it, which breaks the shell down the center, and then I just remove the carapace or the shell by just flicking back each one of these pieces of shell, and they come off in little segments. All right. So.
But all that shell you can use. You make a beautiful bisque out of, soups, or an oil out of, a soup out of.
I like making
everything gets used here. This is expensive, so we need to respect it. From, as they say,
you say expensive though, but things have gone up so much, in this country in the last couple of years. I mean, for example, when the drought hit, lamb went up in price, and we were paying $52 a kilo for lamb cutlets, which were sort of an Aussie sort of favourite. So all of a sudden you've got something that's really, really expensive that we were used to eating on a daily basis. You can buy lobster when it's running, and it's running well, at sort of $38 a kilo. Yeah. And obviously you don't eat the same amount as you would do, if you were eating lamb cutlets. And it's a beautiful, beautiful crustacean. So we just cut that into nice little rounds. Is that what you want?
Yeah, nice little rounds.
Okay.
Okay, while Gary's cutting that into rounds, what I've got here, we're going to make a white sauce. I've got some milk that's being infused with thyme, onions, a little bit of garlic, and a pinch of salt. Okay, and we gently just bring that up to the boil so it takes on all the flavour. I've got butter that I've melted here, corn flour. Now, all these recipes, of course, are on the website. So jump
or in the book. You normally say in the book.
Or in the book, yeah.
Which we normally say is available at Borders, but not anymore. It's terrible, isn't it?
Gary and I were racing around to all the Borders collecting our books. Please don't throw them out.
There's a bipping coming from somewhere.
There is a bipping. I'm not sure.
Andrew, there's a bipping somewhere.
Everyone, this is Andrew. Big round of applause. He's the chef that makes it all happen in the background.
He does all the work, doesn't he?
He does all the work.
We just wander in and ask somebody to cook us breakfast.
Okay, so basically what I'm doing here is toasting the flour gently. What I want to end up with is sort of the smell of shortbread biscuit, okay? And you'll see that will start to turn white in colour.
Yeah, but people, because when you cook a roux like this, people don't know when to then add the milk, and you see this little white tinge, starting to build around the edge of the roux, and that's when you know when to chuck it in. All right.
Okay, if I could get you, Gary, to help me here.
So what you've explained what's in here?
Yep, I've explained what I've got in there.
So we add that a little bit at a time.
Yep.
And then stir to incorporate. And what's important when you're making a white sauce is not so much the physical action, so you don't need a whisk, but it's about adding a little of the hot milk at a time and allowing the heat to do its job, which bursts the starch molecules, and then that allows the milk to be incorporated into the roux. So it's that little beating motion at the end and that little burst of heat that smooths it out in between each addition of milk. So that's the important bit. All right?
We'll work all right together, eh?
Oh, no, but we're only doing one dish.
Oh, yeah.
It's a bit different on service, isn't it? I went down to the restaurant on Saturday night, and I wish I hadn't. 150 people, and I should have people to do that for me, but it was hard work. Do you still work on the pans, George?
I do, Gary. You rang me at midnight, remember, on Saturday?
Well, you asked me to pop over for a beer.
Yeah, but I already got home.
You're in bed, having a little sleep.
I was about to put my Snuggies on.
You got a Snuggie?
Got to have a Snuggie. And you know what? I've just discovered Ugg boots at home.
No!
Yeah, I love them.
So you wear a Snuggie and Ugg boots at home?
Ugg boots at home. I mean, I'd never walk outside the house with them because I'll probably get bashed.
That'd be a great pap shot, wouldn't it? George bending over outside his front door to pick up the paper in his Snuggie and his Ugg boots. I can't see it. Can't see it. That's beautiful. So little addition of milk each time.
Yep,
and then how long do you have to cook that out for?
Not long at all. Not long at all. And just as soon as it thickens up, and I reckon
we got a little bit more.
A little bit more. I reckon that's plenty.
Good stuff.
Okay, and you can see, at the end of the day, we give you a recipe, but it's all about, feeling it yourself, making sure it's nice and thick. And then what we're going to do is just incorporate in there some cheese. Now, I've got a really delicious cheese here called Kefalograviera.
You're not going to be able to ask for that at the deli because I can't say it either. Just the Greek hard cheese that George uses.
Yeah.
That normally gets you. Your mum said it on the show the other day.
Yeah, she did.
Kefalograviera. Kefalograviera.
Just use Parmesan, don't worry about it.
That's the stuff that you use for what we think is saganaki, right? Yeah. Which is the fried cheese.
Yep.
And until recently, I always thought saganaki was actually the fried cheese dish.
No.
But it's not, is it?
Yeah, no, it's the frying pan that you cook the fish in, and then from there you take the fish out and cook with all the residual oil and sort of fats in there. You cook cheese and bits of bread and that.
So you can have
why is there 4 people sitting there?
I know, it feels a bit odd, doesn't it?
I just noticed them. Hi.
You all right?
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, what I've got here is, if you want to pop the camera in there, braised fennel. And I love fennel, Gary. It's one of my favourites. So I've just braised this in a little bit of water, olive oil, and a bit of lemon juice. That's it, some salt. So quite simple. And you know why? It's a nice vegetable because it's available pretty much all year round and versatile. So you can make a salad out of it.
I love raw fennel.
Yeah,
Just shave raw fennel or slice really thin. I put white balsamic vinegar on it.
Yep.
A little bit of salt and pepper. And that's it. It's gorgeous.
And you're done, aren't you? That's it. You don't need to. And then we lay some boiled eggs in here. Now it's up to I'm using the word moussaka quite loosely. I mean, actually the traditional moussaka was called imam baldin, and it came from Turkey. And then this innovative sort of Greek chef called Xelementes took that dish. He worked for Escoffier, who was a famous French chef, and learnt how to make bechamel and added the bechamel to it. So it never really had bechamel.
So basically what he did was typical Greek. He took something that was essentially good already and then added some cheap stuff and made some more money on it.
Yeah, I think he needs,
cash. Cash, George, cash.
Well, we can't talk about cash at the moment, can we? So our bechamel just goes over
the Greek
the top.
economy is doing very well now.
It's extraordinary, Gary. It's extraordinary. I mean,
and it's you told me a story actually that you've got a friend over there that just had a glove box full of parking tickets, which you thought was quite.
I couldn't believe it. I was there, 2 months ago, And I was in his car, and I opened up his glove box for I don't know what reason, and it was jam-packed full of parking tickets. I looked at him, I went, what's all this? And, parking tickets. I go, but there's like, 30, 40 of them. He goes, oh, don't worry, in a couple of years' time, someone will knock on the door, and we'll negotiate to pay him somehow. And then you wonder why the country's like this. Right, this goes.
You know what? I just want to say it's because it's all packed in mattresses in their house, mate.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Right, what we've got here is an oven. We've got this nice and gentle, sort of 160 degrees, with a little water bath underneath, and that's just going to, gently cook it, so it's not sort of roasting hard. It's just going to give it a gentle heat. So we'll leave that in there, let that cook. And we'll come back to that a little bit later. Right. Off to you, Gary.
Yeah, let's move it. Okay, so we're going to do a little oyster dish. What's important about buying oysters is that you buy them not already open, but closed, okay? And what you've got to realise, this is a little tidal bivalve, so it sticks on a rock, or in a commercial sense, that the tide actually doesn't go out because they grow them in pens. But what happens is that filters, the water and takes its food from the water, all the little plankton, etc. And when the tide goes out, they actually snap shut. And they can stay alive for long periods of time, keep all their moisture, and then obviously when the tide comes back in, they open back up. So if you buy them like that, and you leave them in the fridge, they're good for a day or two, okay? If you buy them open, what the fishmonger does is he washes them. So if you're an oyster connoisseur, all that lovely sort of oyster liquid inside there, the juice, which is, seawater as well, is lost, okay? So you also don't know how long the oyster's been open. Plus the fact when you open it, it dies, all right? So try, if you can, to have a go at opening them yourself. And if you're not brave enough, then get your fishmonger to open them for you, and then just pop the lids back on so that you know they've come intact and he's given you the right oysters, and then take them home and eat them straight away. That's the key. Now, to oyster lovers, what we love about it is the saltiness and also that iodine kick that you get from the sea, that little taste of iodine. And it does take a little bit of getting used to. I know when I first started cooking, oysters weren't my thing, and then I started eating one or two when I go out for dinner, and now I love them. And when we go out for dinner, we always order, when I say we, it's normally Matt, George, and I, if we're away, we'll order, a dozen oysters and just have a couple each, because it really is a celebration of beautiful fresh seafood. So for those of you that need a little kick along, I've got a nice dressing that you can make that goes with oysters really, really well. So a bit of vegetable oil, and we're going to make essentially a vinaigrette. So there's quite a bit of oil there, because that forms part of the oiliness in the vinaigrette. About a teaspoon of garlic and about a teaspoon of ginger. You can put a little bit more in, it doesn't matter. And the recipe's not that precise. It's just really about getting the fragrance from those ingredients. And then what I have here is some black beans. So if you think of beef and black bean, I've just got some salted black beans, which you buy at the Asian supermarket, and just crush them. So you salt them first, soak them first, and then crush them. And what the soaking does is just smell that, it's beautiful.
I love that.
It takes away that saltiness. And then we pop those into the oil as well, and we cook those ingredients until they start to become fragrant, which just takes about 30 seconds or so. Add a bit of chili, a little bit more for George, right? Because he loves a bit of chili, don't you, George?
Love it.
Love it. And you can put in some wasabi, or in this case, this is a little bit of Japanese mustard powder. And then I've got about a tablespoon of sugar. So once you've got the fragrance in the pan, the sugar is now used to give you a sweet and sour flavour, all right, which is really delicious with the ginger and the garlic. And that smells beautiful, right?
That smells wonderful.
So then with the sweetness goes some acidity. You can use lime juice, or in this case, coconut vinegar. And then just to finish it off, just a little dash of sesame oil, which is like a seasoning. Gives you that little sort of hit from the sesame oil. And then last but not least is some shredded spring onions. And that's just as you take the pan off, you just put them in right at the end, and it gives you some crunch. Really simple. If you don't put the spring onions in, you can pop it in a jar and put it in the fridge, and it'll last a week or so. And that is delicious over barbecued fish. Doesn't have to be over an oyster. Or chicken,
even chicken, I was just going to say. That would be delicious on chicken.
So what I'd like you to do, George, is just spoon
some of that over.
Spoon that over there.
Yep.
And while you're doing that, I'll just show you how to pop an oyster. So if you're going to open an oyster, what you need is an oyster knife, right? Which is a little blade like that. It's got a really sharp point on it. And it is not about force. It is about it's only a tiny little animal in there. It's about finding the hinge or a point on the side of the oyster that you can just pop that little knife into. And then it's about wiggling it until you can feel it almost just pop, all right? And once you get that little angle on it, you can then you'll feel it almost pop. And then it's now a case of, because you've released that muscle inside there, you can just pop the lid off. And if you can see all that juice in there, that's what you want. That's what you love if you love oysters. And if you order them opened, you won't get that. Do you want it, or shall I have it?
No, you have it. It's good aphrodisiac, isn't it?
Oh. It is. It's lovely.
Oh, gosh.
We've been working together for too long, haven't we? Right. So George is doing a little bit of daikon radish. We're just going to put on the top, and that will give it some crunch, and then some herbs. And then I need a volunteer to come up and eat one. No, somebody who doesn't like oysters.
Someone that doesn't like... No. Someone that's never eaten an oyster because they're scared of them.
There's a couple. You go.
Don't lie. Don't lie. Because I will check if you've eaten an oyster before. Hey? You've never eaten one before. You promise. You know how many cousins I've got? Come with me. Come with me, sweetheart. What's your name? Danielle.
Oh, I love that oyster. That was beautiful. Who have we got?
We've got Danielle. Apparently she's never eaten an oyster before. Never. So, like, a guy hasn't taken you out on a date and bought a dozen oysters? No?
Right. Go on then. Off you go.
So, can we just detach one?
Did I not detach it?
One of them's just not. Okay.
Right.
Do you want to taste a bit of the vinaigrette first? Just to
smooth the way?
Yeah.
There's all these little kids at the front going, yummy. They've got no idea, have they?
What are you tasting?
The spring onion and
black bean, ginger.
Black bean, ginger,
Yeah.
garlic.
Tasty, isn't it? Yummy. Would you eat that over fish? Would you like that?
Yeah, definitely.
Beautiful.
Right. Take the spoon and just pop it in the end and just slip it down your throat.
Oyster.
All right. Do not gag. We've got a bin ready. No, you'll be right.
No, we might. Hang on a minute.
Wait. No, let's do it
it's not
again.
gone. It's not gone.
Hang on. Jesus me, you've crucified it. Hang on.
I've got the bin and the sesame dressing
And have a
ready
look
to
at
go.
this. One of your long hairs. We would boot you off MasterChef for that. It's definitely not mine, is it, Gary?
No. Unless it's off your back.
No, they're long. They're longer than that.
Right, come on. Get it down here.
How's that?
Do you need that? A finisher?
You love it?
It's good.
Yeah.
Tell me. Beautiful? Salty?
Yeah.
Can you get that little iodine kick? Do you get that? Not sure? Finished off by the sesame and the black bean and the... Will you eat oysters again?
Gary. Oh, wow.